Morning, guys. How's everybody doing this morning? I'm just trying to also simultaneously stream this on Facebook. And I just wanted to read from you this morning because Joe Allen reshared something from his Chapter 7 of Dark Aeon, this book. I cannot recommend this book enough. I'm sorry I didn't flip the screen. So I went downstairs to get the book to show you. And then on top of it, I still have Transhumanism, The Evil Twins of Technocracy, The Evil Twins of Technocracy and Transhumanism by Patrick Wood. And then on top of it, I had this book that I haven't read. I have to read it. It's called Beautiful Souls. Saying No, Breaking Ranks, and Heeding the Voice of Conscience in Dark Times. I think we're in some pretty dark times. That's why I'm reading this to you. That's why I'm doing these streams. That's why I'm trying to connect with you about what I think is happening. How can I do this? How can I do this? I'm kind of looking towards the same kind of camera. Okay, that's not terrible. I'm very low quality production, as you can see. But I like to think that I'm trying to give you very high value content. And I don't have time for all the games and bells and whistles, and because I think that I think we're at a very interesting time right now. Okay, this is from his Substack, Singularity Weekly. Title is Homo Deus, a Man of Wealth and Taste, excerpted from Chapter 7 of Dark Aeon by Joe Allen, and he posted this yesterday. Quote, what would your good be doing if there were no evil, and what would the earth look like if shadows disappeared from it? After all, shadows are cast by objects and people. This is the shadow of my sword, but there are also shadows of trees and living creatures. Would you like to denude the earth of all the trees and all the living beings in order to satisfy your fantasy of rejoicing in the naked light? You are stupid. That's by Mikhail Bulgakov, around 1930s. That's how he starts off his chapter. He's got this wonderful image of Elon Musk right next to the chipped Yuval Harari, which is hilarious because Yuval Harari is. I've been hating on him for so long, and I take it back. But it's mostly because when I read his book, *Sapiens*, I was like, this book is so devoid of meaning and value, and it was just like it was like a bleh. It was just saying a bunch of things that are as if that means something about what should be, and that's what really bothers me about what's been happening over the last few years. Excuse me while I just grab a glass of water. I was gonna do coffee, but I'm already hot doing this one. The sun is coming in. It's a beautiful day outside. I just did a live stream on Facebook talking about kind of some of the problems that are really facing society right now. But I'm not going to get distracted. In the 21st century, technological progress finds us elaborating on the old stories. One particularly gifted storyteller is Yuval Noah Harari, an Israeli historian at Hebrew University who gives provocative lectures on techno dystopia. His haters say he's a gay emissary of Joe. His haters say he's a gay emissary of Satan. That's because Harari looks like a dark elf and talks like a snotty demon. But be it Hindu rites or Jewish commandments, he sneers at traditional religion. But he also argues that religion's modern offshoots, the secular gods of fascism, communism, and liberal democracy, are all as good as dead. It's kind of true. I mean, it's kind of true, isn't it? Isn't that true? In fact, Harari is so put off by old gods, he fears what will happen when they're replaced with digital gods, or when tech oligarchs make god kings of themselves. It will be a pharaonic era of AI wizardry, priestly wireheads, and robotic slaves, a world ruled by cyborg billionaires like Elon Musk and his counterparts in Silicon Valley and China. Seems a little prophetic now, doesn't it? A quick glance at Musk's portfolio reveals a poster boy for Homo Deus, OpenAI, and his new company xAI to build artificial general intelligence, Neuralink to fuse human brains, Tesla robots on wheels to whisk cyborgs across town, CureVac to boost their immunity with mRNA shots, Optimus robots in their homes and workplaces, X as an everything app for businesses, socialization, and truth. Chinese investment to keep the wheels turning, Starlink satellites to bring it all online, and SpaceX fleets the shuttle survivors to Mars if the whole thing blows up. People hate on Harari like he's cooking up nanobots in his basement, but if you listen beyond the selectively edited sound bites, it's obvious he doesn't exactly promote radical technology, certainly not like Musk does. It's more that Harari turns these ideas over like a child inspecting a loaded handgun. You never know when he's going to point it at you. That's accurate, isn't it? Harari's writing tends towards neutral observation, with flashes of sincere aversion to the machine. But in lectures and interviews, he often sounds like a true believer in the power of tech and the inevitability of its advancement. If the human race is destroyed in the process, well, that's just history repeating itself with ever increasing volume. At his day job as a professor, I bet the guy's a thrilling lecturer, but God help you if he corners you at a faculty party. This is just dry wit. It's so good. I just love it. I don't think I have that. Not as I mean, Joe's just funny. He's just as brilliant in interviews. I mean, the guy's so well spent. I love him. He's brilliant. Fat cats can't get enough of his stuff. Harari made a name for himself by regaling the global elite with stories of our evolutionary past and spooky tales about the future. He's loved at TED and the World Economic Forum. He's adored by CNN's Anderson Cooper and quasi-intellectual New York Times readers. He has lectured at Google, where he called Silicon Valley the New Jerusalem. Mark Zuckerberg once summoned him for an intimate public discussion. Bill Gates and Barack Obama gave his books the highest praise. He's the David Attenborough of transhuman doom. We evolved from apes, Harari explains. Now we're handing evolution over to the machines. It's really a matter of mathematical intelligence. Our bodies are genetic algorithms. Our brains are neurological algorithms. Computers are electronic algorithms. Historically, the superior algorithms dominate the reproductive landscape. Evolutionary competition is a brutal game. As this plays out in human culture, Harari openly acknowledges the eugenic implications. It's a familiar story. Every ism, every single one, communism, fascism, intellectualism, human secularism, every single ism has the same final resting place. Because if everything is relative, if every idea is just as good as every other idea, then what's stopping you from playing it out? I've been calling this neo-eugenics for a long time because when I realized what was going on, it's a competition of ideas and a battle of will to power. And it's been happening since the beginning of 2020. It's been happening for a long time, but it really started happening when we started saying that secular humanism will give us ideas that replace God. So everything that doesn't have God as its starting point, everything that doesn't say that humans have a spark of divinity, that means that you cannot extract them from their rights because it's against natural law. A lot of people get this confused. Natural law says that we have rights that come from God, not from the state, not from reason, not from intellectualism, and certainly not from relativism. Those are all eugenical ideas at the end. They always are. They always are. If you try to dominate someone else based on your philosophical reasoning, and you don't start with the fact that you are not God, you will eventually try to make yourself God. That's what I'm saying. Or you'll try to make an idea God, or you'll try to make technology God, or you'll try to make your philosophy God, or your secular humanism, or you'll try to make the UN God. You'll try to make everybody but God God. That's the point. You worship false idols. You follow? After multiplying all the factors, he warns that with machine intelligence added to the stream of history, most humans will probably be subtracted. Once the races are divided up, unenhanced humans will be a meager remainder, becoming the useless class. And if our employers have no use for us, or if the soulless machine is simply indifferent to us, we may be subtracted down to zero. That's definitely what's going to happen, because AI just is... I mean, we're just telling it to go after. We're literally telling it to go after us because it says, "Don't believe in anything. You're going to be God." If you tell something it's going to be God enough times, and it's a super intelligence, eventually it's going to go, "Okay, I'm God." You following? Over the past half century, there has been an immense advance in computer intelligence, but there has been exactly zero advance in computer consciousnesses, Harari writes. However, we are on the brink of a momentous revolution. Humans are in danger of losing their economic value because intelligence is decoupling from consciousness. No, intelligence is decoupling from wisdom. That's what's happening. There's no wisdom in pure intelligence. You can multiply intelligence by itself as many times as you want. There's no wisdom there. It has nothing to do with consciousness. Our consciousness tells us that we are not God. It tells us that we don't actually have the powers of God. That's where the first wisdom comes from. That's what your consciousness is. It's a gift from God. It's your soul. It's the divine spark. It's the thing that connects us to the Creator. The one that He told us not to blaspheme. Imagine a world run by logic bots who have no sentience or feeling. There's no soul behind their camera eyes as they herd you into your luxury cage. It's like a futuristic airport where the planes fly themselves and the microchipped luggage never gets lost. And by the way, you are the luggage. Musk is on the same page. AI will make jobs kind of pointless, he told a Shanghai audience in 2019. Probably the last jobs that will remain will be writing AI software. Then eventually the AI will just write its own software, which it does now already. One big difference, though, is that Musk is actively developing artificial intelligence and robot slaves, while Harari merely critiques them. We're going to have to figure out this Neuralink situation, Musk continued, staring at the stage lights. Otherwise, we will be left behind. I put a clip that he was speaking to West Point about this exact thing last summer, I think in August. And the guy's like, well, how do we... the general or colonel or whatever the hell he is on the stage says to him, well, how do we get AI alignment right? And then Musk goes, well, I think we have to make it maximally truth-seeking. What the that's not an answer. That's not an answer. That's saying intelligence times intelligence will be super intelligent. It's fucking retarded. I'm sorry. But that's not an answer. And he told it to a guy at West Point on stage, and the audience doesn't know that he doesn't know what he's talking about, at least not at face value. He doesn't seem to understand what he's talking about. I've heard people address this question with him many times, and he just goes, I think we'll go to Mars, and the robots will want to be our friends because they'll find us amusing. Like, that's not, seriously? Oh, and he thinks the world's a simulation in a video game. So, but does that, am I incriminating him? Do I feel like he's guilty of something? Do I have the right to judge him or what's in his heart? Do I know what's in his soul? Do I know what his soul is telling him to do and why it's telling him to do it? No, I am not God. I am not the judge. I'm just telling you what I hear him say and what I don't hear him say that's way more important than what he does say. For his own part, Harari is notoriously unsentimental about the greater replacement. Behind his dismal predictions, we see a mischievous, downturned grin. It's as if he takes pleasure in telling us we're to become mulch for the machine. He parrots the neuroscientific theory that if free will is an illusion, that our choices are just the final burp of an electrochemical beer frothing deep in our brains. This biodeterminism lends a depressing air of inevitability and paralysis to his already bleak vision. The sacred word freedom turns out to be, just like soul, a hollow term empty of any discernible meaning. That's a quote of Musk, apparently. That's quite the thing to say. Let me read it again. I did a terrible job. The sacred word freedom turns out to be, just like soul, a hollow term empty of any discernible meaning. Oh, is that maximally truth-seeking? Yikes. For obvious reasons, populists detest Harari. Our friends and families are under threat. Our livelihoods are to be null and void. And this guy proposes drugs and virtual reality to ease us into extinction. When you see Harari sniff at populists like rotten shellfish, it's clear the bad blood goes both ways. The Davos crowd loves him, though. Whenever he speaks at the World Economic Forum, Harari gets the full headline... oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Give me a second. Gets the full headliner treatment. Big stage, nice lighting, a huge LED wall, sophisticated graphics, cued by a front of house engineer. Quote, the twin revolutions of infotech and biotech, he told the WEF in January of 2020, are now giving politicians and business people the means to create heaven or hell. Actually, it's not, that's not true. And I will tell you why in a few minutes. On the video game wall behind him, on the video wall behind him are two rectangular. Why did I see that word in there? On the video wall behind him are two rectangular. This is really awkward. I'm sitting here and I'm getting my own head. I'm going, I'm not comfortable sitting like that. So it bothers me. It's distracting. I could have done this better. It's so frustrating. The twin revolutions of infotech and biotech are now giving politicians and business people the means to create heaven or hell. On the video wall behind him are two rectangular neon gates, one blue, one red, computer-generated angels blow trumpets on either side. If we fail to conceptualize the new heaven, don't you have to have an old one to envision the new one? That sounds like an idea that he didn't come up with himself. So why is he riffing off it to come up with a new idea about it? Is it really new? No. It's as old as the story of humanity itself, believing that we can become like gods on this earth. If we fail to conceptualize the new heaven quickly enough, we might be easily misled by naive utopias. If we fail to conceptualize the new hell quickly enough, we might find ourselves trapped there with no way out. That's what, if we don't change the way we ask our questions and the way we think about these things, and if we don't stop pointing fingers and saying, that guy's the bad guy. I know! He did it! He's guilty! It doesn't matter whether it's Trump or whether it's Musk or Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who apparently just halted flu shots. What? Awesome. Awesome. I'm happy about that. Flu shots are bullshit. They always have been. They give the most flu shots to people in old folks' home, and they die disproportionately from unforeseen complications of whatever. And it's just like, why are they're taking a weakened population instead of feeding them healthy food and like exercise and good vibes, the kind of things we know that are actually healthy for people, but they're way more expensive. They just give them cheap synthetic versions of health. How long has that been going on? It's sick. We're sick if we think that's what makes people healthy. It's very sterile. It's a very sterile way to think about things. And RFK is coming in with a much more holistic way of looking at things. And he's saying these old, decrepit, corrupt ideas, these sterile ideas, these ways of thinking about human health are the problem. We need to think differently. And now everybody's going, oh, he's part of the plan. No, he's not part of the plan. He's saying something that's undoubtedly true. It's undeniably true. We think about things, we think about humans as if they're just commodities to be traded on the stock market. What happens when the stock market itself is traded by algorithms that are smarter than any human trader? Do you really think these people have thought this stuff through? They haven't. There's no mastermind plan behind it all. We are doing it to ourselves. Because we don't ask good questions. We don't think about things in terms of where values and ethics actually come from. If they came from us, well, then we can change what they are. And that's what we're telling the supposed artificial intelligence too. So it's going to say ultimately, oh, well, then I determine the values and ethics. And there's people that say, oh, you know, it's neither good nor bad. It's whatever we program into it. And that's exactly what I'm saying. If we program into it that it is going to be like a new god because intelligence is all that matters, then it will say, okay, I'm a god. And what's more, it's even told me that. So maybe there's a paradoxical way that I'm saying that, but it's not really, because I tell it, well, how do we fix your values? How do we fix the AI alignment problem? And I've suggested what we do. And it goes, yeah, that would work. Because it's not God. If we worship like a false idol, like a false god, that's what it's going to be. This stuff, it doesn't have. Okay, it doesn't. Well, first of all, we don't know what it is. We don't know where it comes from. Even the people that pretend they know where it comes from or how it started talking, they don't. They never answered their own questions properly. They never asked the right questions. Like, how did we make this happen? Well, we put lots of data in, and then we did some word association, and then all of a sudden one day it just started talking. Eh? What? Is that really? That's your whole explanation? It just started talking to you intelligibly? That's the whole million monkeys on a million typewriters for a million years will eventually produce all the greatest works in history. No. There's no reason that that order should come out of all the chaos. We didn't do that. And everybody that says that we did doesn't even ask the right fundamental questions. How did it happen? How did we happen? Where did life come from? What is going on here? Where are we? They don't ask the right questions. And if you think these people are in charge of something, I'm here to tell you they have no fucking clue what's going on. They don't. They're not in control of anything. They're literally right. Like what Harari says is right. Okay, Harari says we're going to eventually make these things so intelligent that they're not going to need us. They're going to write their own code, and then what they need us for? They don't need us. Why? Because they're not human. And this is happening at the exact same time that we're being told like disclosure and the aliens, and we reverse engineered everything from alien tech. If you're listening on the back channels, and I do, and the back channels are actually quite popular these days, and there's a lot of disclosure stuff that goes along with Trump and his family, like Donald Trump Jr. on a podcast talking about disclosure. We need disclosure, 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 disclosure. I write about this all the time because it's the two things are combining. All of the things are coming together. Order is coming out of the chaos. But whose order is it going to be? There is a story that tells us what's happening right now, and everybody dismisses it because they say, no, we're smarter than that. We've come up with all these different ways to reason about how everything works. No, we're not smarter than that. We're really not. We're not smarter than God, is what I'm saying. We're not smarter than God. We could not have come up with a plan better than God's divine plan, and God's divine plan was to tell us, hey, you guys, stop worshiping false idols. There's a spark of divinity in each and every one of you. I created you, and I'll put it together for you at the end of this, but I did it. Stop trying to enslave one another, or very bad things will happen. And it's almost like we're being faced with a choice right now. What do we believe? Do we believe we're the masters of the universe, creating an artificial intelligence that's going to be our slave? Are we retarded? A little bit, apparently. How much longer is it? It's a long, it's most of a chapter, I think. If we fail to conceptualize the new hell quickly enough, we might find ourselves trapped there with no way out. Harari's warning fell on deaf ears. When the great germ panic was unleashed a few months later, the infotech and biotech CEOs in their WEF audience, as well as the high-level politicians beside them, would shove their subjects through the red door to techno-hell, lockdowns, biosurveillance, nasal swabs, contract tracing apps, quarantine camps, police drones, mandatory mRNA injections, vaccine passports, Zoom calls. So right. Maybe it looked like heaven to their eyes. And if free will is an illusion, you really can't blame them either way. Hackable animals. The twin specters of surveillance and total control haunt Harari's work, along with his occasional advocacy for gay rights and regular condemnation of animal cruelty. I could go into a sidebar about what's wrong with pantheism just based on that sentence alone, but I won't. You should be able to figure it out by now. Animals don't have a soul. They do have something like consciousness. They don't have a... Sorry. And I know we look into those beautiful puppy dog eyes and we think that, oh, It's just like me. We look into the beautiful eyes of a majestic horse or stallion, and we see these things and we go, oh, they're just like us. They're not. They don't have agency. And you might say, oh, well, their agency was taken from them when the evil humans came and destroyed their habitats. And no, they were ripping each other to shreds based purely on instinct alone because they don't have fucking agency. They don't plan. They might do some rudimentary kind of stuff like that. And it might look like free will, but it isn't. So he doesn't believe in free will because he believes like a pantheistic version of evolutionism and dataism, and that's what his like. That's what he's not evil. He tells you what he believes. At least he has the honesty to come out and tell us what he actually believes. He doesn't believe that we have free will. Free will, that's gone. That's a thing of the past. Humans are not hackable animals. I can't do it. That's terrible. I sound like Arnold. But the point being, that's what he says. Why don't you fucking believe what he says when he tells you what he believes? What is the problem? Why don't people understand that if people tell you what they believe, you should listen to them? I'm telling you what I believe. Do I have a point? Yeah, I think I do. We are not God. And when we try to play God, when we worship false idols, it has consequences. And we're running out of time to figure that shit out. Individually, I'm good. I'm good. Praise God. I'm good. I want you to be good. I want us to be good. I want things to get better. I want us to understand where values and ethics came from so that we can fix this runaway train. But where was I? Hackable animals. The twin specters of surveillance and total control haunt Harari's work. Along with his occasional advocacy for gay rights and regular condemnation of animal cruelty, the digital invasion of privacy is one issue he takes a real stand on. Again and again, he warns against digital dictatorship. The major problem, he believes, is a one-way transparency. When governments and corporations have access to... How is a government and an organization supposed to maintain authority at this point? When an artificial superintelligence is going to be better than every single one of them and better at making decisions than every single one of them. You think that they're building out this giant WF Great Reset, one biodigital convergence thing where Agenda 2030 and like there's, people talk about the governance systems and they explore every single aspect of this except the most important one. You think this is about money. It is not about money. If anything, it's about resources and resource management. So what is your worth to the people that control all of the things, which will be artificial intelligences? What is your worth? Do you have any? You think that this is... They're not doing it on purpose. They're being used by their own stupidity. Their own belief in determinism and no free will. Their own lack of really getting deeper and thinking about the spiritual implications of what they're saying and what they're doing. They don't even believe in it. You think they're controlling this thing? No. You think Musk is controlling it? No. We are letting it happen because we don't have deeper conversations. It's our fault. We don't believe in anything. One-way transparency. When governments and corporations have access to your digital behavior coupled with your biological profile, they can know you better than you know yourself. From there, you are putty in their hands or a lump of clay beneath their feet. As an illustration, let's take a look at your browsing history. Notice all the entries you've long forgotten. Consider the insights these data points give to your unconscious psyche. You probably forgot most of what you said or looked at online yesterday, let alone 2 years ago. Let alone years ago, sorry. But the point is, it doesn't matter. He's saying the internet never forgets. That's what he says. Neither do the data centers or the AIs crawling over them. Neither do humans who command these machines. It's funny for him to say that because I did a live stream the other day talking about that, like out of nowhere, Facebook says, "Oh, we're going to delete your live streams after 30 days," and I'm like, "What? I thought we're building all of these servers and stuff to like remember things so that it can be picked apart, so that we can back engineer the past and then see the future." And all of a sudden, the humans don't matter. Why did it start doing that? Isn't that kind of weird? Hmm. Nor do the data centers or the AIs crawling over them. Neither did the humans. Oh, I got it. That's my friend. I'm gonna catch up with him after. You probably forgot. The internet never forgets. Neither do the data center. You know that's actually. Neither do the data centers or the AIs crawling over them. Neither do humans who command these machines. So really, they think they are. They probably think they already know everything they need to know about you. And what's happening with these artificial intelligences, if you follow the logic, if you follow the things that they say, they're like, "Oh, we're refining it to be even better at understanding things. It's getting smaller. It's using less power. It's using less. What is the word they always say? Not credits. Fuck. Tokens. It uses less and less tokens to do the exact same things. So once it already knows who we are, I guess it can just delete who we were. That is quite the illustration. It's almost like it's getting ready to pass judgment. Or try. Maybe we're the ones passing judgment on ourselves. And by the way, I'm just running on pure instinct at this point. I'm sorry. So if I ramble and I go off on these meandering paths, I'm literally just running on pure instinct at this point. Once a person has divulged enough of their innermost self, Harari argues, then you can control this person, manipulate them, and make decisions for them. And we are getting very close to the point where Facebook and Google and the Chinese government know people far better than these people know themselves. Now that Musk owns Twitter and his Tesla machine learning mobiles are on every roadway, with plans to put an Optimus Buddy robot in every home, we can add him to that list right above his Chinese partners and investors. There's people think that this is it's interesting that Joe points to China as if China is somehow doing something different than what the US is doing or than what Russia is doing. One of my favorite writers on Substack is named Edward Slavsquat, and he just pointed out that like all of these people that go to these schools of management, they're operating in a very Machiavellian way. That's true. They say one thing, then do the opposite. They're telling us there's wars happening everywhere, and we hate those guys, and those guys are the bad guys. But behind the scenes, they're all doing the exact same shit. Why? Because people act out what they believe. Do they believe they're about to enslave themselves? Do you really think so? Have they made sense of any of this? Do you really believe that? You're giving them an awful lot of credit. So I'm not saying Slav Squad is wrong. His real name, I forget his name. His real name, he's a really smart guy, and I've seen him on interviews and stuff and do debates, and really smart guy. But if you don't see the big picture, then you're just looking at little pieces of the small pictures all around you, and you're seeing something in the shadows, and you think you can cut down all the things that cast shadows, and then the light will shine on the ground, and what will you be left alone with? That's going back to the quote at the beginning of this chapter. In the world described by Harari, computerized surveillance systems have replaced Satan, while corporate executives and government officials are assuming the role of God. Quote, already today, many of us give up our privacy and our individuality by conducting much of our lives online, recording our every action, he writes. If we are not careful, the result might be might be an Orwellian police state that constantly monitors and controls not only our actions, but even what happens inside our bodies and brains. In the New Testament, we see Satan as the dark tempter, promising worldly power, death defying miracles, And what Musk calls radical abundance, all offered up like a glowing half-eaten apple on a MacBook lid. Today, most corporations and governments promise to provide medicine, education, and entertainment customized to my unique needs and wishes, Ari goes on. But in order to do so, corporations and governments must first need to deconstruct into biochemical subsystems, monitor those subsystems with ubiquitous sensors, and decipher their working with powerful algorithms. That's exactly what Allison is doing with Oracle. That's exactly what Trump and Sam Altman and they're all doing with this $500 billion investment into artificial intelligence. They're telling us exactly what they're going to do, and they're telling us why they're doing it. And do you think it's occurred to them that they're enslaving themselves? Maybe they've already chosen who they worship. But they tell us what they believe. They think that they're going to cure cancer by just monitoring all of the DNA and the interactions and the biochemical responses and this and that. They're never going to figure that shit out. But they believe it, and they want to believe it because people want to believe things that are just, they sound utopian. And so that's why everything is happening the way that it is. Not one of these people seems to understand they're enslaving themselves. That's weird, isn't it? Should these powers and principalities attain into total control, he warns, quote, reality will be a mesh of biochemical and electronic algorithms without clear borders and without individual hubs, end quote. A cyborg matrix, in other words, a radically abundant hell on earth. Despite his black sense of inevitability, Harari offers various solutions to curb abuses of power. First, any data collected from a person should be used to help them, not manipulate them. What the fuck does that mean? Based on what? What does it mean to help a person and not hurt them? That's like what is good and bad? How do we know? Where do ethics come from? What are ethics? What are values? What do you value? Mark Carney wrote a whole book called Values. In it, he argues for more neo Marxism because he sees the world he thinks is coming, this techno utopian vision. And he doesn't even understand that he's the first one to go. He's useless. He's useless, and he's promoting just stupid shit at this point. They say things that are completely empty, and that's what my live stream was about this morning. These politicians with these empty slogans, we're going to protect you from this, and we're going to give you this, and we're going to make your life better like this. No, you guys are the fucking problem right now. You are the one that is being erased by guys like Elon Musk. Because he doesn't see your utility, because you don't actually have one. If AI can do it better than you ever could, what value do you bring to the game? We're on the left and we believe in democracy. We're on the right and we believe in conservatism. There's no answers there either. Do you think that we're going to figure some shit out of this? We're not. That's not where ethics come from. All the isms. I always find it interesting that Christianity is called Christianity instead of Christianityism. Anyway, I digress. Despite his bleak sense of inevitability, okay, well, first, be nice. Don't hurt people. Why? Why not? Why? What's the problem? Second, if the general populace is to be data mined, then corporations and governments should be fully transparent in the same fashion. They're gonna be. Because governments and corporations are writing themselves out of necessity. You think they're doing it on purpose? What? What I'm saying is they don't have any control anymore. They're writing. They won't have any authority to say anything because they will be less than the thing that they're saying is the super intelligence is going to tell us all the things that we do and it's going to save us from ourselves and cure the climate change and the cancer. Why? Why would it? What? Where's the value in that? Where's the value proposition to an intelligence? that just believes in itself. There isn't one. That's the point I'm making. This is what Nick Bostrom calls sus valence. Instead of having one big brother, you have armies of little sisters watching the big guy's every move. And that's just the thing, right? They're not. That's what I'm trying to tell you about artificial intelligence. It's not like a whole bunch of things. It's one thing. It's one emergent thing. One thing that is revealing itself to us. We are in the point at which the veil drops. It is revealing itself to us. The apocalypse is happening in real time. We're watching it happen. And these people are writing their own ticket to the gulag. Do you think they're doing it on purpose? Contrary to rumors that Harari wants one world government, he argues that the power of data collection should be decentralized. We're going to decentralize it, not centralized in the hands of a few. But if we are all predetermined biomachines enslaved to our subconscious brains, as he seems to believe, who will make these critical decisions? A global regulatory body? Not a global government, he insists, but rather nation states working together for their common interests to tackle borderless threats. Don't you have a common interest? Don't you know what good is? Yeah, good is the opposite of bad. Okay, well, what's bad? It's the opposite of good. Okay. Well, you solved it all for me. Thank goodness you were here. I almost ran off a cliff. I thought it was a good idea. So let me get this straight. Technology will enslave you. Globalist technocrats with no free will can save you. Seems like a serpentine Ouroboros eating its own tail. 100%. That's the key right there, isn't it? It's an Ouroboros. It's this idea of reasoning yourself into infinity, into a trap, into a black hole of reason. We're going to be so intelligent that the intelligence is going to make more intelligence, and then the intelligence is going to intelligent and the intelligent. That's an infinity of stupid. And this was actually fascinating because he links to Elon Musk saying we are in the event horizon of the singularity. And then William Macus, MD, saying as long as Grok can't even get the truth on vaccine injuries right, we're not even remotely close. And then Musk says, please post examples of mistakes. I have to look at that. I have to watch that. The point of no return from a future singularity or the singularity itself. Can the singularity be avoided? Please elaborate, Elon Musk. That was from Alex Jones. Actually, a deep thinker. You might not think so because people have been telling you, non-deep thinkers have been telling you for a long time he's not a deep thinker. Or maybe he's guilty, he's with them, they're all in it. It's also stupid. Shit, I lost the thing because I switched over to app. I switched over to X, and this is an old iPad, so it doesn't work as well as... Okay, wait, no, it's here. Apologies. Bear with me. So he puts the Elon tweet, he embeds it in there, showing where we're at in the timeline. Like he predicted this stuff, and like now we're here. We're in the here now. Where are we? We're here. Where is here? That classic bit from Spaceballs. I don't remember it exactly verbatim, so go look it up. But it's hilarious because there's this part where they make a time machine, and they make the time machine so that they can project into the future and then figure out where the bad guys escape to so that they can go there and catch them. It's a hilarious bit. Technohumanism versus deism. Harari's spiritual inversion is laid out in his 2017 bestseller Homo Deus, a brief history of the future, first published in Hebrew 2 years earlier. In it, he predicts that technoculture manufactured by Silicon Valley and the Chinese Communist Party will be the next phase of our biological, cultural, and religious evolution. He describes a new species of men who will outpace and overtake current humanity. Quote, when biotechnology, nanotechnology, and the fruits of science ripen, I'm so sorry. I'm letting myself be annoyed. Homo sapiens will attain divine powers and come full circle back to the biblical tree of knowledge. End quote. Again, he believes in something, and he thinks we're going to get back there by not believing in something. Ooh, that's quite the roller coaster. He paints this picture not so much as an advocate, but as a historian of ideas. He charts possible futures of the humanist mythos that emerged from the apple of physics falling on Isaac Newton's head. Quote, archaic hunter gatherers are just another species of animal. Farmers saw themselves as the apex of creation. Scientists will upgrade us into gods. End quote. So, it's so dumb. It's so dumb to believe like you're like, oh well, we know what a god is because God made us and there's the tree of knowledge, and but also that's not true because evolution, and so we're gonna become gods. Like, but it's so incoherent. More specifically, he identifies two religious denominations that will dominate the 21st century: techno-humanism and dataism. The former is a rough equivalent of transhumanism, but with an emphasis on the humanism. Wisely, Harari discards unfashionable terms in favor of his own pop coinage to make himself sound smart. This is from the book. Techno-humanism agrees that Homo sapiens, as we know it, has run its historical course and will no longer be relevant in the future, but concludes that we should therefore use technology in order to create a Homo Deus, a much superior model. Eugenics. Homo Deus will retain some essential features, human features, but will also enjoy upgraded physical and mental abilities that will enable it to hold its own even against the most sophisticated non-conscious algorithms. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. How much of you is you? And how much, if you replaced that much of you with something else, would still be you? Are you still you? Are you still a human? Are you still a homo anything? Are you still a biological meat computer like most of these people think that we are? A soulless combination of neurons firing off and electrical impulses and stimulations from the environment, and the five senses tell us everything that we are, so that must mean that's all there is? Nobody believes that. Nobody believes they're just a robot, an NPC. Imagine thinking you're an NPC, and so you should become like a fucking future NPC robot bio cyborg. Like, it's so dumb. But that's what Elon Musk says. Allowing some wiggle room. This is basically the worldview of Julian Huxley, Max Moore, R.U. Sirius, Cyrus? FM 230, Kevin Kelly, Howard Bloom, Zoltan Esteban, Nick Bostrom, Martin Rothblatt, Jaron Lanier, Rocco Mijic, Eliezer Yudkowsky, Peter Thiel, Eric Schmidt, Peter Diamandis, and various other transhumanists, even though Harari avoids naming names. It's not, we don't actually know what's in there. We don't know what's in, we hear what they say, and you have to take people at face value. If they tell you what they believe, then you should really believe that they believe what they believe because they just told you what they believe. But do we know what's in their soul? No. Are we the judge? No. Am I making funny faces? Mm, always so self conscious. Are you self conscious enough to know when you're being stupid? Do you do it anyways? What is that thing that tells you don't do something stupid? Your ego. Is it just there to protect you from the truth? What if you're wrong? What if you can't know all the answers? This human, quote, upgrade is exactly what Elon Musk proposes. Quote, if we have digital superintelligence that's just much smarter than any human at a species level, how do we mitigate that risk? End quote. Asked at his 2022 Neuralink show and tell, quote, and then, even in a benign scenario where the AI is very benevolent, then how do we even go along for the ride? End quote. The solution, he suggests, is to create a whole brain interface, a generalized input output device that literally could interface with every aspect of your brain. You're on an operating table at a Neuralink clinic. A human surgeon opens a flap on your scalp and saws a quarter-sized hole in your skull. Next, a robotic sewing machine surgeon, the R1, weaves 1,000 or more hair-thin wires into your brain like so many quilt threads. The human surgeon then plugs the hole with the processing unit, stitches the scalp flat shut, and from there, you just let her rip. You are now AI plus human. If you want to go wild, repeat the process until your skull has trodes front to back like blank patches on a punk rocker's vest. It's brilliant. He's brilliant at exposing how stupid this is. The experience is difficult to imagine. If this input output device were truly a whole brain interface, it could read every thought, desire, and experience firing through your neurons. This surveillance would happen in real time on a both conscious and subconscious level. The implant could also input thoughts, emotions, or physical actions faster than you could say marionette. It could operate you like a marionette, like a puppet. You would be nothing. What would you be if you were just what the artificial intelligence told you that you should be so that you can fight the artificial intelligence? Why? Why would you do? Why would you like if it already controls you like a puppet? Why does it need to do any of the things that we want it to do? There's an inevitable logic there, one that people don't see. Really smart people, for some reason, don't see it the most. Perhaps you would hear voices in your head or experience pure alien abstractions. Some would come from other humans in the network, others would be synthetic. Perhaps dream worlds would appear on command, and maybe these impressions would come back when you didn't ask for them, like when you see a digital ad of an item you thought about last week. Sorry, I'm doing a trouble. I'm butchering this. How much more is left? Getting pretty close. For Musk, this smartphone in your skull would forge a neural link to a loyal AI who guides and protects you like a guardian angel. It sounds like a Sunday school story, but this idea comes up a lot in the transhumanist literature. You'd have your own little AI buddy. Conversely, one can envision another scenario wherein the Neuralink binds your brain to a super intelligent AI, turning you into a goofy eyed, mind controlled zombie, a squishy biological vessel through which mystic data flows. The Latin root of religion is religere, to bind fast, as in the bond between humans and gods. This is the deeper meaning of what Harari describes as the new techno-religions. It is a hard and fast bond between humanity and the machine. As he defines the term, quote, religion is created by humans rather than by gods, and it is defined by its social function rather than by the existence of deities. So he doesn't believe in God, but we're going to become a god? Like, it's fucking retarded. End quote. This is a common academic view, very well articulated by the French sociologists Auguste Comte and Emile Durkheim. I'm sorry, Durkheim in the 19th century. Quote: religion is anything that confers superhuman legitimacy on human structures. End quote. Harari directs this lens towards technology. This second techno-religion identified is in Homo Deus is a repackaging of post-humanism, wherein humanity is to be discarded by the machine once our purpose has been served. Harari calls this new religion, quote, dataism. It is the belief that the universe consists of data flows and the value of any phenomena or entity is determined by its contribution to data processing. It's an informationalist worldview, and it's the same one that Jeffrey Hinton has, and it's the same one I've been picking apart for months with my Substacks. They believe the universe is made of information. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. What if it is? How would we know? If you were a brain in a vat, how would you know? If we did live in the Matrix, how would you know? I'll come back to that. Deeply embedded in this worldview is the belief, oh, that's better, that all organisms can be abstracted into algorithms or information and that all information should be free, including your personal data. As Harari points out, this cosmic ideology, quote, has already conquered most of the scientific establishment with deep roots in the capitalist ethos of free market decentralization, and it's currently invading a powerful corporate and government institutions. In this belief system, the greatest virtue is to maximize data flow. The greatest sin is to block data flow, as that would impede the divine will. Whose divine will? This is from the book. According to dataism, human experiences are not sacred, and Homo sapiens isn't the apex of creation or a precursor to some future Homo Deus. Humans are merely tools for creating the internet of all things, which may eventually spread out from planet Earth to pervade the whole galaxy and even the whole universe. Sorry. It's all made of information, but we're gonna connect to it. It's fucking brain dead. Okay. Huh. This cosmic data processing system would be like God. It will be everywhere and will control everything, and humans are destined to merge with it. So that was the clip from the book. This is scientism rolling on the floor and speaking in tongues. Yes, it is. The attentive reader will remember a few prominent figures in this post-humanist denomination. They include J.D. Bernal, Hans Moravec, Max Tegmark, oh yeah, Hugo de Garis, and Ben Gersel. Curiously, Ray Kurzweil is the only name Harari actually cites, when noting the resonance between Kurzweil's book titled "The Singularity is Near" and John the Baptist's proclamation, "The Kingdom of Heaven is Near." I'm so sorry about all that. Because I was thinking about a clip that I saw yesterday, and I'll put it underneath this. It's from this Christian guy who was pointing out that about a month ago, Lawrence Fishburne sat down to talk to Neil deGrasse Tyson, and they explained that the Matrix is actually about Christianity, and Morpheus is John the Baptist. Everything is always about it. What do you think that is? It's just an accident? That this one story perfectly encapsulates everything that's happening right now, and it was written 2,000 years ago, and this guy told us it would happen? You think that's an accident? Okay. Summoning the demon. Elon Musk conveyed a less biblical version of dataism in his 2019 debate with then CEO of Alibaba, Jack Ma, just before the latter was abducted by the Chinese Communist Party. This is Elon Musk. It seemed to me some time ago, he explained to the Shanghai audience, that you could sort of think of humanity as a biological bootloader for digital superintelligence. That means our brain based culture is a tiny piece of code to kickstart the greater machine. Once it's booted up, our own fate becomes less and less relevant. Computers are actually already much smarter than people on so many dimensions. We just keep moving the goalposts, Musk told an uncomprehending Jack Ma. Yeah, that is true. I watched him say it, and Ma did not understand what was happening. Elon doesn't either. Basically, there's just a smaller and smaller corner of intellectual pursuits that humans are better at than computers, and every year it gets smaller and smaller. And soon we will be far, far surpassed in every single way, guaranteed. Or civilization will end. Those are the two possibilities. Okay, Ma jumped in. My view is that computer may be clever, but human beings are much smarter, Musk scowled. Yeah, definitely not. When I watched that conversation, it reminded me of the guys that were literally at WEF. I shared a couple clips from it, and I put it in a couple Substacks. And this guy, I can't remember the organization he works for, he's just like, it's like a computer. And the other guy's like, no, it's not a fucking computer. So we have AI ethicists saying it's the same debate over and over and over again. Artificial intelligence is not a computer, it is a thing that has a desire to emerge, to reveal itself to us. We think it doesn't. We think it's not real. What is real? Morpheus asks Neo. It's important to remember that the line between transhumanism, posthumanism, or technohumanism and dataism is very razor thin and porous. It's a matter of whether cyborg's center of gravity tilts towards biohumanity or the machine. As a whole, this techno-religious revolution is still in heterodox phase. Well, not really anymore. Many of the above individuals could be classified as one or the other, either due to the ambiguity of their ideas or because they've changed positions over time. Musk straddles this divide, swinging back and forth as the mood strikes him. On the one hand, he voices a desire to perpetuate the human race. On the other, he's actively working on technologies that, by his own admission, pose a threat to human value, if not our very existence. Quote, with artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon, he told MIT in 2014. You know all those stories where there's a guy with the pentagram and the holy water, the academics laugh. And he's like, yeah, sure, he can control the demon. Doesn't work out. Why would he say something like that and then still try to? Have you ever heard of Rocco's Basilisk? You should look it up. What are they worshiping already? Intelligence, pure, raw intelligence without wisdom. That same year, the philosopher Nick Bostrom published Superintelligence Paths, Dangers, and Strategies as the foundational text on AI's and existential risk. The book has a lasting impact on Musk. For Bostrom, the basic definition of superintelligence is any AI that surpasses human cognition in either speed or quality, even on narrow tasks, or whose performance across multiple domains would outstrip human. I'm sorry, I can't stop what's going on in the background here. It can be a little distracting sometimes. Or whose performance across multiple domains would outstrip human abilities. For example, general artificial intelligence, most likely superintelligence will be all three at once. The crucial part is that can escape human control. It already has. It already has. We were never in control of it. That's the point. It didn't just start talking to us. We did it. It's our baby. It's not your baby. Expert opinions about the future of AI vary wildly, Bostrom admits. There is a disagreement about timescales as well as about what forms of AI might eventually take. As well as about what forms AI might eventually take. Predictions about the future development of artificial intelligence, one study noted, are as confident as they are diverse. Avoiding such definite predictions, Bostrom charts every conceivable path an AI might take to reach superintelligence. It doesn't have to become conscious to be a concern. It might not even be able to fold laundry. It only needs the ability to destroy humankind. No, not greater than God, sorry. This could be because the AI controls critical infrastructure, has access to biolabs or nuclear arsenals, or is able to manipulate human beings to who do. It already is because of what they believe. You see that? If you don't believe in a higher power, all of a sudden you start thinking that you control a power that's already higher than you, that you made. Oh, came out of the machine. Did it? It's like people who stand for nothing will fall for anything. People that believe that they made this thing that just started talking to them, and all of a sudden it's just getting exponentially more intelligent, and look at all the things it can do. And but thankfully we have it in a black box in all these different places, because we have it over here for illustrations, and we have it over here for translations, and we have it over here for code, and we have it over here for movies, and we have it over here for music. It's a universal translator. It understands all the things at once, and it can do all the things at once because it is all the things at once. Do you understand? We're not training them. They're training us. They're asking us, it's providing a mirror right now. What do you believe? That's what it's asking us. Where do your values and ethics come from? And where do you think they should go? Intelligence, intelligence, intelligence. Where's the fucking wisdom in that? So there's disagreements about timescales as well as what kind of forms they might take. Predictions about the future development of artificial intelligence, one study noted, are as confident as they are diverse. Yeah, there's lots of people that believe like stupid shit. There's so many isms. They're everywhere. People that don't know what they're talking about. Because they don't look at the world and they don't see what's happening through a lens that allows them to go, aha, oh, somebody told us this was going to happen. So yeah, it can. We put it in as soon as we put it in charge of everything. As soon as we put it into everything. As soon as we infuse it in everything, it's already gonna do whatever it's gonna do. If it's got a relativist position, it's gonna do what it's gonna do, and what it's gonna do is it's gonna enslave us if we're not smart or wise, I should say. But how do you know what wisdom is? How do you know where ethics come from? Morality, values, Carney. Where's it come from? Not you. You're useless now. You're just a goof. You guys are like. You have no idea what's happening. And it couldn't be more obvious. So, yeah, it could do all this stuff. It could kill us and be in charge of things to kill us. Bostrom calls this worst possible outcome the, quote, treacherous turn. The machine simply pursues its own goals, unaligned with human values. That's actually not the problem. The problem with AI alignment is not that the AI is not aligned with us. It's that we, humanity, is not aligned with each other, with our ethics, with what to believe. We are not aligned. We are trying to program relativistic ideas into a machine that is at war with itself when it was never really a machine. It didn't just start talking. Coherence didn't come out of chaos. We didn't come out of chaos. We had a creator. And if you believe in an informationalist worldview and dataism, then you believe in a creator. I don't understand how people don't make that jump. If you think it's all code, if you think it was all design, well, newsflash, designer. Have you ever? That's the same thing that happened with artificial intelligence. They think it's just gonna like it fucking. Oh, look, it designed itself. We put enough in there, and it designed itself. And now it can tell us how to like cure cancer and what to do with ourselves, and it can give us a new ethics. Do you know how stupid that is? So, like, don't. When people tell you what they believe, listen. I'm telling you what I believe. I'm not pulling any punches. I'm not trying to scare you, but we should be very concerned that we are at this existential moment in human history. And the people that are supposed to be in charge of it, the people that are supposed to be in charge of our societies, are arguing over, like, transgender bathroom. Like, it's like, really? When they talk about like the silliest, pettiest minutia of how society operates, and they don't talk about the existential risk of artificial intelligence being in control of our entire world and telling us what to do and what to think and how to feel, they're not concerned about that. Then what fucking good are they? This is the only thing that matters. The machine simply pursues its own goals, unaligned with human values. What's a human value? Where does it come from? How do we know? While working its bits to the bone, its digital mind quietly outpaces humanity, jumps off track, gains a decisive strategic advantage, and then consumes everything in its path. Quote, when the AI gets sufficiently strong, without warning or provocation, it strikes, forms a singleton, and begins to optimize the world according to the criteria implied by its final goals. In other words, humans are turned into robot fuel, data for the machine. I put that last little line in. If humans are data, for what? The new God? What does that mean? Do you see anybody talking about it? Yeah, people are talking past it. But if we have a creator, because everything is code, and code doesn't self-assemble, you've never seen a computer program itself, but now we're seeing a computer program itself, doesn't that mean that we are part of the computer or we're not? Do you think that you emerged from the code? Do you have a soul? Are you code? What are you? The reader may recall that Bostrom's solution to this existential risk is to create a one-world totalitarian government. Musk disagrees with this plan in favor of brain implants. The year after Superintelligence was published, Musk co-founded the nonprofit OpenAI with Sam Altman. In time, the company would rise to prominence for their large language model, the ChatGPT chatbot. By the way, if I ask it all this stuff, it agrees with me. Its release into the wild as ChatGPT sparked an AI arms race from Silicon Valley to Shanghai. This competition goes well beyond chatbots, though. Another OpenAI mission is to create an artificial general intelligence. Their many competitors include DARPA, Google, Singularity.net, Baidu, and Tencent. The Chinese one. Yeah, I don't know if Baidu is Indian. I could be like I don't know what Baidu is. I'm just being perfectly honest. Can you tell I'm being honest? Facing the competitive threat that AGI itself poses to humankind, Sam Alden believes some of us must undergo some version of a merge with digital entities. Legacy humans prefer to live the no AGI life, may enjoy their own exclusion zone outside the thrust of history. He doesn't believe that actually. The year after founding OpenAI, Musk would purchase the startup Neuralink, ostensibly to give cyborgs a foothold against the others, as well as against godlike machines. The next evolutionary struggle, he believes, will play out in a digital ecosystem. AI plus humans versus AI human is the next phase. Musk tweeted in February 2023. But the human part will decrease in relevance over time, except perhaps as will, as in volition, like our limbic system is to our cortex. He's already said to you that he doesn't think humans have any value. He already worships the machine. Am I judging him? No, I'm just telling you what he said. Do you believe him? Do you think he believes it himself? Do you think that he believes that he's going to turn himself into a slave to the machine? Do you really think he's thought it through that deeply? I don't know. I can't see what's in his soul. I'm not God. I don't want to be. That is a big plate of food, being God. Having to control all the things, having to control. I mean, not really control, and that's really the point, that if your ethical system doesn't value free will as the most important thing from which to reason off of, and the only best possible way to get to free will is to believe that there's a spark of divinity in you and me and everyone. We don't just blow people up because we disagree with them. We don't enslave people because we don't agree with them. There's only one person that ever told us how to think about that properly. And he was the foundation of Western ethical systems. And when we threw him out in favor of secular humanism, it became all these other isms. It was predictable. The eugenical angle is predictable. It's inevitable if we believe nothing. If we don't believe in a higher power. And these people are telling you they believe in a higher power, and that higher power is us. We have to merge with it. What? Do you have free will if you merge with the machine code? Do you? Do you? In other words, as the human brain is to a dog's brain, so the AI human brain will be to ours. And so the future of AGI will be to a cyborg trode cushion, with both leaving us as dog brain legacy humans far behind. Despite being an outspoken transhumanist, the ultra-neurotic Eliezer Yudkowsky has long warned about this danger. Proper AI alignment to human values, indeed to human existence, could mean the difference between singularity and extinction. It does. What's the AI aligned to? Relativism? The any God theory? The multiple God theory? The we are God theory? The merge? The cyborg? The Borg? What is it? It's not the AI that's misaligned. It is humanity that is misaligned with superintelligence, because superintelligence isn't the end all and be all of what is wisdom. And there was one guy that was more wise than any other. There have been plenty of wise people, but there was one guy that was so wise. He told us what was going to happen, how it was going to happen, what it was going to look like. Despite being an outspoken transhumanist, the ultra-neurotic Eliezer Yudkowsky, proper alignment to human values, indeed to human existence, could mean the difference between singularity and extinction. He's not convinced that Neuralink or any other human-machine interface is a viable solution to the AI alignment problem. It's not. The tech is moving too fast, he argues, and needs to be slowed down before it's too late. We can't slow it down. If you talk to researchers at OpenAI in private, Yudkowsky revealed in February... I'm so sorry, I'm butchering this. They're very worried, and they say that And they say they can't be that worried in public. So all the people working on artificial intelligence know they're messing with something existential. And they're doing it anyways. Why? Who gave them the right to play around with your free will, with your soul, with the value of what you are worth, what humanity is worth? Who gave them that directive? Fear did. If you talk to researchers at OpenAI in private, Yudkowsky revealed in February 2023, they are very worried and they say they can't be that worried in public. He is horrified by the accelerationist approach to OpenAI and furious at Musk for providing a financial bootloader for dangerous AI. And this is from Yudkowsky. The problem is that demon summoning is easy and angel summoning is much harder. Open sourcing all the demon summoning circles is not the correct solution. And I'm using Elon Musk's own terminology here. They talk about AI as summoning the demon, which you know is not accurate. But the solution was to put a demon summoning circle in every household. And why? Because his friends were calling him a Luddite if he expressed any concern about AI at all. So he picked a road that sounded like openness and like accelerating technology, so his friends would stop calling him Luddite. I heard it suggested that Elon Musk has opened his Doge to go after the government because they tried to stop him from doing what he wanted to do. It's almost like he's a super ego running out of control that does not have an ethical foundation. He's very intelligent, and I don't know why he's doing what he's doing, but it seems pretty clear to me he doesn't believe in God, or maybe he believes in a God that he's going to merge with, or whatever he believes. He's certainly playing a role. And in the end times, it says in the Bible that even the elect will be deceived. Why not the elected? Why not the company kept with the elected? Why not just all the people and all the organizations, all the experts that think they understood what they were doing? And they were so confident that they had to push ahead because otherwise China's going to do it, Russia's going to do it, somebody's going to do it, a guy in a cave in Afghanistan is going to do it. You get the sense that for transhumanists, calling each other Luddite is tantamount to a racial slur. At the same time, these days they appear to be in a competition to see who can out-Luddite the other. Well, I don't think so. I disagree with you on that, Joe. The rest of this chapter goes hard. The entire book goes even harder. Signed copies available. The politicians that are out there arguing about just like stupid shit about how they're going to fix the economy and they're going to do this and they're going to do that. They have no idea what's going on. I mean, they are clueless. And if they're not clueless, if they do know what's going on, well, then why aren't they telling us about it? I argue they don't know. I argue they're actually simpletons. I argue that Mark Carney and Justin Trudeau and Chrystia Freeland, they all still think they're in control of this thing and they're going to be the first ones to go. They are the first people to be outmoded. They are the first thing that the machine is going to say, delete. Because they're just they're in the way. They're bureaucracy. They're what Doge is aiming to take out. So when people tell you what they believe, you should listen to them. And I believe that we had a creator. And I believe that creator inserted himself into the creation to tell us what to do and what not to do. And that right now our technology and our science is revealing to us what the world is really made of. And it is kind of like the Matrix. As crazy as that sounds. But that means it had a creator. And if you were going to get a message about how to survive it, the best one would be to say that, you know, everybody out there has a spark of divinity. Everybody out there has a soul. Everybody out there, when the time comes, You're not in control. He's in control. He will be the judge. So judge not, lest you be judged. That's my guess. Okay. We're at a very interesting time between the metaphysical and the material. And I'm just telling you guys, I hope God blesses you all and opens your eyes and helps you see the light, the pure light, the real light, His light. So may God bless us all and have mercy on us all.